I believe that the fires we're cast upon are the flames we shall become. I believe in a common calling where our temples pray as one. I believe in the word of wonder and a kingdom for the saved.
Good morning or good evening from wherever you're joining us from. This is Larry Pollock, Luke Carroll, Hella Trevino. Leo didn't make it today. But today we're going to talk about some important stuff. This is sort of a morbid issue that no one likes to talk about, but it seems like lately there's a lot of younger people passing away early in bodybuilding circles, more than we saw in the past. And I don't know if it's just more known because of the social media or if it's actually more happening, but it seems like it's more happening. We just had a recent death of Jason Lowe, and apparently it was heart related. So we're going to get into some details about that. And then after that, we will dive into the Arnold Classic and some recent updates. So who wants to kick it off? I know Luke had a lot to speak on this subject.
Yeah, so I talked to Andrew Barry just a moment ago before we got on, and he was telling me that they talked about it on their podcast yesterday. Chris Tuttle was coaching him. He's just started coaching about a week before he passed, and so he kind of has a little bit of inside information, and it looked like he died just from a heart attack, which is kind of just a blanket term. I mean, it's hard to say specifically what that might mean. Might mean left ventricular hypertrophy, some kind of collapse of the heart, just it's hard to say specifically what that would mean, because there's a lot of different things, I guess, that could happen. The heart attacks could happen a couple of different ways, but kind of remains the same. The information that we're going to talk about regardless, Hella was just saying before we got on that, blood work will show, kidneys and liver and stuff, and that's all kind of long-term stuff. You might feel like crap if your liver's elevated, but you're not really in a danger zone of dying. But a lot of these people pass from heart-related stuff, diuretic, which is directly heart-related stuff. So, that's kind of what we can get into.
So actually, I had my heart checked, not just with the blood work, but I had the calcium CT score done 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago. And I had plaque, like my calcium CT score was really high, but all the plaque was on the outside of my arteries. There's nothing inside of my arteries, which is weird. Not good, but
better than it's inside.
But there was nothing inside. So there was no imminent risk of threat of something happening right away. Still, they ultrasounded my heart, and my left ventricle is enlarged, probably from all the years of training and anabolics and whatever. What was interesting though is last year they ultrasounded my heart, and it was what it was. And then they just did it again a couple weeks ago, and they said it was much improved, which I don't know exactly why it was much improved.
Your heart can go through a lot of cardiac remodeling. I've heard that using peptides like BPC and TB can do some cardiac remodeling, and maybe just your training changed, kind of just maybe some other fact. I mean, your training never changes, I guess, but maybe you just took more rest days or did more something different,
I'm thinking also now that you don't compete anymore, it's a lot less stress. I mean, it's a lot of stress on the body.
Last year I wasn't competing, and this is just from 1 year to the next. It got better instead of worse.
Did you start doing more peptides, or you've always been doing the peptides?
I just recently started doing the I did the SLUP for a couple months, so maybe that had something to do with it. But if I had to guess one thing, I would think it's because I lost weight.
Mm.
And I didn't lose weight on purpose. I just did. It's just been harder to keep on the extra
size
muscle.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. I mean,
yeah, you kind of went through some injuries, you know, the gym growing and building and stuff. So you just had a pretty busy lifestyle. So, you know, you just aren't getting every workout in like you had been maybe in the past.
When was your last show, Larry?
Yeah, my training has definitely not been as consistent because of work as I want it to be.
Yeah.
So maybe that has something to do with it. It's not that I'm not training. It's just not, you know, my eating is definitely, in spite of my best efforts, I'm eating less than I was.
I think I think that just kind of happens as you start to age. I mean, you start getting, well, one, you're like a business owner and you're like, running the whole show. And then two, just kind of as you age, you're not training as hard. You're not eating as hard, So I think that just kind of dropping some weight is just kind of a normal aspect of, and you're not pushing your drugs as hard as you were, several years ago and stuff. So kind of just a natural progression of aging.
I'm training as hard as I can.
Yeah.
But it's just.
When was your last show, Larry?
Oh, my last show was like, I want to say, let's see.
You competed when we were at A Street, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
I competed when we were in Oxnard.
Yeah, on A Street.
Yeah, yeah. So
so that was probably like 2020 maybe?
Yeah, around 2020.
Yeah, I did. I was just thinking I didn't know it was that long ago because I was gonna say, I think stimulants put a lot of strain on the heart as well as diuretics. So even just prepping, and getting that dry and like the constant stress of training, cardio, you can't let up. You're always I think your body is at least in the last phase in some sort of fight or flight mode.
You definitely accumulate a lot of fatigue the last 4 or 5 weeks because you start putting in the drugs and your sleep starts your body starts going into hunger mode. So you wake up at 2 a.m. just all right, now I got to go do my cardio instead of the refrigerator, So
you don't sleep
a lot of stress just on your whole body by going through prep. But I mean, I think a lot of the prep, in my opinion, is probably a little bit healthier actually than the off season. I know you're running a lot more drugs and you're kind of doing a lot more, but your weight is down, maybe 20, 30 pounds from its peak when you're in the off season. And I think that peak weight, as Larry was alluding to earlier, is probably one of the biggest factors. I notice it myself because when I'm above 260, my sleep apnea goes crazy. I'm snoring every night. I'm heavy. If I don't have any cardio in, after I do a set of hack squats, a heavy working set, I'm just huffing and puffing for a long time, and then if I just get down to that 250, 255, it's all that extra weight somehow just makes it easier, So it is definitely something to that. And then, I mean, you could even say an analogy of animals that are bigger, a lot of times tend to live shorter lives. In dogs, small dogs live forever. They live upwards of 20 years. And the bigger your dog gets, say a lab or something like that, they live 10, 12 years. And then a Great Dane, they live 6, 7 years, So and I think it's just directly related to the size of the heart, of the entire animal.
I don't think that you can say that prep is healthier. I mean, that aspect I can see. We're all off season really feeling huffing and puffing, and it's hard to walk the stairs, and everything is harder. Yeah. You just feel better. I feel better, especially after the first month. And I lost that extra, all the water weight, and I, like, even just like for me, like 5-6 pounds can make a big difference. But I just think with the prep, it also depends like how you prep, and if you're behind, how many stimulants are you taking, and I think also if you're a female or if you're a male, because for females it is harder to get the fat off. And for me, when I'm prepping, I've never done a prep without reaching 2 hours of cardio a day, ever.
Okay. So you think that's a lot?
For me, the cardio stress, the glenbuterol, the ephedrine, the over-the-counter fat burners, this, I think what also really gets to your heart is the stacking of things. You know, like it's the anabolics, it's the G, it's the, you know, different types of, I mean, even like, you know, I've heard of athletes that take amphetamines and take Adderall and you know, harder stimulants, and it's not uncommon. And so just the physiological stress with the add of, you know, also off season. I mean, of course there are some that like overdo it, but for me it's really just like a test and a deck and I'm good. You know, I don't really stack a lot of stuff. But then when I come to prep, you know, it's Vinstrol, it's EQ, it's Tren, it's Mastron, it's Test Probe, it's the anti-estrogen components, it's Proviron, it's, you know, maybe halotestin at the end. You know, it's just you stack and you stack and you stack, and then along with the physiological stress that goes up. I mean, to be completely honest, not a lot of people know this, but my last Olympia, I actually ended up in hospital the next morning because I had heart aneurysmia. I had total like loss of like bodily functions, like due to like low potassium. My potassium was like super low. Had to have like IV potassium at the hospital. My heart was being monitored. It was not beating regularly, and I had rhabdo as well. And that was probably due to the high physiological stress. So I'm like, I've tried to be there, and I'm like, I think I was also like, I prepped with one coach that didn't push hard enough. I got behind. I switched coaches, was already behind. He didn't want to start cardio right away. And there's also something to be said about like coaches that don't want to listen. And you say, listen, I'm a person. I need cardio. Oh, no, I'm not a believer in cardio. Let's wait. And more late, you know. And then we really had to push like more cardio, more stimulants, more T3, more T4. Like another thing, it took me a whole year to get my T3 down. It's been so elevated. The reason why it was elevated, some different things can happen if you overdo it with your T3 to T4, is that either it basically breaks and you don't produce any. Or what can happen is your receptors desensitizes. So so they weren't like sensitive anymore, my receptors. So what my body did was like, oh, there's no T3. So it elevated the T3 but the problem was really like how it was received, the T3. You know, it wasn't absorbed because there was no sensitivity. So it just like, it went up to like the highest was 12.7, and it's supposed to be under 6. And that has taken me a whole year to get it down. And now it's around 6. So it's like,
insulin sensitivity is the same way. You know, insulin sensitivity is another analogous thing to what you just said for T3. So you know,
so in that sense, you know, I think prep is much more dangerous for most people. I think it's much more unhealthy. Also, if you're willing, I'm an athlete, I want to win. I'm willing to push it. If my coach says do this, you know, I'm like, okay, maybe we should push it. You know, I want to be the best. Like I don't have a lot of common sense. You know, like if I'm out of prep or if I have like my own athletes, I'm very protective about. I will do things myself that I will not have my athletes do.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
because I'm kind of insane like that.
I would say for my athletes, I mean, I try to keep longevity as like my highest thing, you know, like my highest factor in the coaching them, you know, like we definitely will push where we can, but if I start seeing symptoms of risk factors, you know, like making them give me the their blood pressure and stuff, and if I start seeing it shoot up because of what we're on, I'm like, all right, we need to figure this out before we just keep pushing, you know. So I think it probably just comes down to the coach. And I mean, you're a little different. You're at the top of the world. You're number one. You're Miss Olympia. So like you know, you definitely have the thing where you need to like you're going against the rest of the world that are the top people. So everyone's pushing hard, you know, and
yeah,
really it comes down to probably just almost maybe even just genetics, like just your structure and your genes are the only reason that maybe you won out next to the other person, or you know, maybe like a little bit leaner because of like how you prepped or whatever. But you went over a lot of things I kind of want to kind of touch back on and cover. So I think that a lot of bodybuilders, I know for years, a lot of bodybuilders didn't do any cardio in the off season because they're like, oh, it's robbing my gains. I'm just wasting, you know, calories that I could be using for muscle. So I think that in that sense, you start doing cardio, you start doing, you were doing quite a bit, like upwards of 2 hours. I feel like I wouldn't be able to go into that territory. I feel like my body would just start to break down. But I've been upwards of like 45 to 60 minutes a day. And I think I start just getting like, it starts getting easier. You know, the first week of prep, I get on, it's 20 minutes on the Stairmaster. And I'm like, I'm huffing and puffing. And then 3 weeks later, I'm doing 40 minutes and it's, you know, I'm just like cruising through same speed or even faster. So I'm not a big stimulant user. When I do use clenbuterol, the highest I go up to is 40 micrograms, and I'll do a split dose. I'll do like 20 prior to fasted cardio, and then 20 about midday. And then I really don't use any others. I don't drink coffee. I don't do energy drinks. And I don't really do
pre-workout.
Yeah, any of those. I think maybe some people do use a lot of stimulants as appetite suppressants. So with the new GLPs, I think maybe people could start backing down their stimulant use to get the appetite suppression through another way. So maybe the GLPs could be a way to actually increase health by backing off the stimulants. Because I absolutely agree with you. High stimulants are massively bad for your heart. I mean, if you're in prep and you're doing, like you said, stacking all these drugs and doing high stimulants and doing high, you know, cardio and doing low sleep and doing low, you know, like that is definitely pushing the envelope into like a dangerous territory. And we've seen people die, you know, from it. So
yeah,
I mean, you said yourself, you wound up in the hospital, and you could have, if you just ignored it, you're just like, oh, I just feel like shit, I'm just gonna push through. You possibly could have passed if they didn't get some potassium in you and didn't equalize your where you're at.
Very possible. Yeah, that's very possible. I mean, sometimes you're walking a thin line there, you know, like depending on how much you push.
Yeah. And then let me finish real quick. So, and then the diuretic use, in my opinion, is probably one of the most risky things, just because people don't really understand them, and they're taking your body into that danger zone where your kidneys are in danger, your blood starts getting really thick because you take all the hydration out of it. You know, and so like you're on that show day and you're just dried out, and your coach is telling you, oh, you can't drink any water because we don't want you to be loaded on stage, you know. So you're really in a risky danger zone. And then the rebound from that is just as bad. You know, then you you get done with your show, you drink a gallon of water, you're like, oh, this feels so good. You're eating,
you swell up
pasta and pizza with your family, and you have a dessert, and you go to In-N-Out that night and get a shake. You know, you're kind of like and then you like wake up the next day and you're up 25 pounds, which is just as equally bad because like your heart and kidneys are now, your blood pressure is probably shot up 50 points. So that's a real risk. You know, no show is worth your life. I mean, we've heard people say that a lot. So, you know, pushing your limits, but also trying to be somewhat smart. I mean, like the smartest people that use diuretics are the ones that keep water coming in, and they're just using the diuretic to keep it pushing out. So if someone's trying to cut your water or use like distilled water or something like that weeks out, and then add a diuretic on top of that, that's kind of like risky. And that's where those people don't know how diuretics work. They aren't understanding, you know, what they do and how they work. And that's a really risky, probably one of the most risky things in my opinion about our industry. A lot of the I saw close to competition, I think are.
If I was going to prep again, I would supplement with potassium. I don't think the diuretics did that much. Of course they did something, but I think I did something like 2/4 of diazide, which is not really a whole lot.
It's really not a whole lot. I mean, that's a you know.
But
I've heard of people taking like multiple diazides to do a show. I think
it was just the what drove my electrolytes out, I think, was being on such a low calorie diet for so long, and then with the cardio and just, I mean, also just, you know, all the sweating, being in Vegas, and you know, I think just all the strain. Dry climates, you also have to account for that if wherever you're competing. I think really like just being on a low calorie diet for a long time in the cardio, all the sweating. Like I was like 3 times a day in the gym.
Well, that's another
if I were to compete again, I would supplement with potassium.
That's another thing to touch on. When I have people, you know, prepping specifically, I increase their salt intake substantially. You know, they're sweating a lot during cardio. You know, you're really pushing through, and people get afraid that they're going to like retain water, their blood pressure is going to go up. Your body adapts with the aldosterone adapts to flush out extra water after like 3 or 4 days. Your weight might go up 3 or 4 pounds, but as soon as you go back to normal, and then the electrolytes are what's going to help with keeping your heart, you know, pumping, but also like muscle pumps, you know, and I keep electrolytes in like all the way through. If you have them high at the beginning of prep,
I should have done that. I mean, my salt was super high. Like I was eating as much salt as I wanted. I salted all my meals. I was even like salting my water when I was going to training. So the sodium wasn't an issue, but I should have supplemented with a like electrolyte blend.
Yeah, and I've really been using those a lot lately, and I actually feel like my training has gotten substantially better using like an electrolyte blend with like magnesium, potassium, sodium, and I like the flavors of them. So it's easy to get in my gallon and a half a day when I am using those. But I got a few more things to talk about the heart stuff, but I don't know if Larry had anything he wanted to.
Just one thing occurred to me that we've heard young deaths in the bodybuilding industry probably forever. It's more now. I don't know if it's because of social media we're hearing about it more, but I do think it is more. But in the last couple of years, we're seeing more amongst women. And that was like almost unheard of before. And these are not bodybuilder women. These are like bikini competitors, you know, figure, these kind of divisions.
I would say a lot diuretic use probably with the women as well.
I would say stimulants and diuretics. I mean, I've heard of like quite a few people who also took like recreational drugs like Adderall, amphetamines, speed, you know, ADHD medication types.
Cocaine, Adderall.
I mean, I've heard it like from several people.
I mean, I've heard of people actually taking MDMA before cardio as well to try to just get on there and zone out. You know, you got 2 hours. You're just like, oh, this feels great. You know, your endorphins are shooting, you know?
Yeah.
I've heard of that.
as we spoke about, like, I think just women do a lot more cardio than men.
Yeah.
So I think just doing a big amount of cardio, having this stress of like low calorie diet. I mean, bikini, they have to be so small, right? And then the stimulants, different types of stimulants, and always the heart is going with cardio AM fasted, cardio before bedtime, training midday, like
your CNS is always like at level 9,000.
exactly. And then come the show, you dehydrate hard, you take diuretics on top, it's like, I think that's the cause.
A lot of people don't compete and they still are in a risk. So let's talk about some of the off-season risks with, being big, steroid use, not doing your cardio, having your weight so high. I mean, choosing cycles that don't shoot your blood pressure up is probably going to be one of the best factors for longevity. And then just keeping an eye on your blood pressure, checking it, daily. Literally, they got those Omicrons that you can buy in there. You just do it every day, and just it tracks it. Even it keeps track of it. They have an app on your phone. You can just see, oh, my blood pressure. Oh, it's been climbing as I get heavier, as I escalate my drug cycle. It's starting to get heavier. So, things
and
like
even if you have an Apple Watch, my Apple Watch will measure my pulse.
Yeah.
So
you can see pulse. Yeah, that's one thing. As my weight starts to climb, my resting heart rate climbs as well. For me personally, my blood pressure doesn't. Like, I've been 265, 270, and my blood pressure has been like 116 over 80, but my pulse was like 90 beats per minute. So, and I've always had a bit of a higher heart rate, but it's like it's hard to get it down into those like low 80s for me when I'm 265 pounds.
Yeah.
So drugs that, personally, I love DHTs because they don't really have water retention. Not escalating your doses to, too crazy. As a pro bodybuilder, around 1,500 to 2,000 milligrams is probably like the higher end that I would like to see people go. But, if a lot of the guys that I'm friends with, they're 270 pounds and they stay below 1,000 now because they built their muscle when they were in their 20s, and they're able to actually back down their doses and maintain and even do well on like a sub 1,000 milligrams per week dose. So more isn't going to be better. We get in this thing like, oh, last cycle, my test was at 500. Now I'm ready to go up to 600. Now I'm ready to go up to 750. Now I'm ready to go up to 850. So definitely you have to escalate, but to keep growing bigger and bigger, you're going to need more androgens. But I see people doing it they're 165 pounds and they're on 2 grams. And I'm like, you're using more than me, dude. You're 100 pounds lighter than me, and you're using more than me. So, it's something that Larry touches on all the time, doing the basics, get better at training, get better at your eating, get better at your recovery, and then use the anabolics kind of sparingly, and a lot of times you don't have to escalate your dose. Like when I have guys come to me, we'll start at like 400 or 500 milligrams of test alone, and we'll do that for a few cycles, and they'll make fabulous gains before we even add in a second anabolic to increase their anabolic loads. So, and then one last thing kind of touch on is growth hormone. People are starting to use astronomical doses. People are talking, not going below 10 IUs, using 18 IUs a day because like this study and that study said that. I know a lot of bodybuilders for years and years that were in the like 4 to 6 range. So, and GH is another one of those that's going to increase your water retention, increase your blood pressure. As you abuse it higher and higher, you start getting insulin insensitivity. So, I think
that's
probably
all around also what you said for the androgens. The higher dosage you take, the more load on your receptors and the quicker they'll shut. So like the lower you can take and get something out of that, like, you know, it's not necessary. Like people want to like go up every week, you know, like if you at a good level and you're seeing the results, like there's no need to increase. And also, you know, put more stress on your receptors and possibly shutting them, because if they're shut, you can take as much as you want. You're going to get minimum results out of that.
I for one have done that. I know a lot of people. Fuad used to have people on all the time, and pretty much all of us have done the, oh well, if you know 800 milligram is good, 1200 must be better. We've all done it, and we really didn't notice any more growth from adding that 300, 400, 500 milligrams to our testosterone alone. So I really like the 750 range for myself personally. I noticed that I grow as good as I can, and I have as low of side effects. I have like, you know, the same side effects I have at, you know, 400 or 300 or, you know, whatever. I have at 750. I don't have any more, but I have like the more muscle growing. And I think that that just comes down to your personal genetics. You know, somebody might, you know, and I'm talking, I don't think everyone should do this. I'm a professional bodybuilder. I'm trying to chase, you know, the other professional bodybuilders. I think that if you're like an average gym rat guy, you should probably stay below 750 total of your dosage. I mean, I don't think you like, if you're just like getting a little bump from a cycle or two here and there, like, you know, 400 test and 300 primo or something like that, you know, is like I think you could gain fantastically from that if your other stuff, if you're doing progressive overloading, if you're eating, you know, escalating your eating, not letting your body fat get too high, blood sugars start to go to shit, you know, using other things that are smart, like a little bit of GH instead of increasing your dose of testosterone and you know, other stuff. You can use some GH to kind of supplement adding the size in instead of escalating your androgen dose too high. So, you know, if you're going to do bodybuilding, these are things just to take it from the experienced people of like, that's how I've tried to keep my heart healthy. And I basically have so far. I'm 41 years old. I do a calcium CT every 5 years. I've done 2, and I'm at 0 still. I do, I had an ultrasound done of like my heart and my carotid, and they basically like checked everything with an ultrasound, and they said that like I have no, they said I had no left ventricular hypertrophy from the calcium score, because they do like it's like an MRI of your heart. But he kind of like confirmed that when he did the ultrasound. I'm just lucky. Like the next person over could do the exact same thing as me and have tons of left ventricular hypertrophy. You know, I just am lucky. So doing the testing, I have never gotten an echocardiogram, but that's one thing that I do want to get in the next year. I think I'm gonna have to pay out of pocket, but you know, that's just my personal experience. So I mean, do keep yourself healthy for your longevity, you know. So
one thing that
I mean is that risk reward, you know, like risk reward, like, you know, like it's also like you said, like what do you want to do with it, you know, like okay, maybe if you're a professional bodybuilder and you're at top of the game, you're like, okay, I need to take a certain risk. But if you're just training to look good, like is it really necessary? You know, I agree with your dosages, you know, kind of keep it low, keep it below 750 or even like 500. Like, you know, you're just trying to add a little extra, you know. And I've seen actually also a lot of athletes that has come really far if they started like pretty early, just naturally. So, you know, if you want to go that route, add a little boost. It's just, you always got to like measure the side effects, you know, like I see it's a good measure to see like what's going on, you know, like how's my blood pressure, how's my pulse, how's my blood work looking, and not just blood work, because now we're seeing like these athletes pass away, and actually majority of them, it's heart related, you know, it's not really like, oh, you know, he had a bad liver and died of that, or he had too high cholesterol, or that's not the issues. I mean, those can like in the long run be bad for your health and turn into some type of disease or but the heart is like, I really, what you guys did with the whole, like the calcium testing and the ultrasound, and that should be on any serious bodybuilders program. Like blood testing is just not enough. I think the heart is even like more important, because we know already that you can get an enlarged heart from not just steroids, but also like sport training on that level for years and years. So it's really, I really wish and hope that it can get on the menu for bodybuilders to come as part of their health regimen. Like now, I mean, back in the day, they didn't really do blood work. Now it's like people are so good and so adamant about doing the blood work. And I just wish and hope that they will add the heart work as well.
Does it seem like more people are dying now than died, say, in the 90s? Because in the 90s, guys started really pushing their weight up, I would say. Insulin use started being a thing. HGH started being around. A lot of, amazing bodybuilders. Was bodybuilding more niche, and now it's just so widespread because it's in every country? It's in, we're seeing like all these guys coming out of India. We're seeing all these guys come out of the Middle East. We're seeing guys come out of Brazil. We're seeing guys come out of, Europe, all over Australia, so is it more just ubiquitous that it's more popular? So now obviously we have a higher percentage of those guys, available to die from bodybuilding related maybe specifics, or while they're bodybuilding, was there like the same percentage of guys passing back then? And like you said, the blood work wasn't as extensive and the testing wasn't as extensive. So I wasn't around in the 90s, so you guys were maybe.
A couple of things occur to me.
I mean, I competed in the 90s.
What's up,
Larry? What were you going to say?
A couple of things occur to me. First of all, you have people respond differently to anabolics and everything else. And what we like to call side effects are really not side effects. They're actually the effects of certain compounds. Like anabolics increase your red blood cell count. That is an effect. It's not a side effect. Mm-hmm. And the benefit of that is you get more oxygen, so you have more endurance. The disadvantage is if you don't drink enough and stay hydrated, your blood gets hurt. Mm-hmm. So, and some people, that'll happen more than others. I can say when I was younger, I took more anabolics and I didn't have high hematocrit or hemoglobin. And as I got older, with much less anabolics, it still stays elevated, like a point above normal, even lowering dosages. And maybe that's just from years of doing it and getting older. I don't know. But the effects of just being a hyper responder, you're getting bigger muscles, and bigger muscles is more strain on your heart, period. Yeah. The other thing is, in the 90s, you did see deaths, but it was like the elite pros, and it was, some, not a lot. Mm-hmm. There just wasn't as many people at lower levels pushing or even taking all these different things. Now you have guys, they just started working out in the gym, and in 6 months they're on a full pro load of anabolics and God knows what else.
True.
Also, like pre-workouts, we didn't have, we took ECA stack, but now everybody pops pre-workouts and fat burners like they're just normal. Mm-hmm. I know girls that take fat burners all day long just to function. And they're over-the-counter fat burners, but they're still stimulants.
Not even that. People drink caffeine, energy drinks, take nicotine pouches, do nicotine vapes. I mean, all that stuff is cumulative. If you're doing a gram a day of caffeine because you do a couple coffees in the morning and a couple, energy drinks,
Bangs,
pre-workout, and then a pre-workout,
rain.
it adds up so incredibly fast nowadays because the stuff's so high dose.
Yeah. And when you talk about the health tests, I'll be honest with you, most people don't do any blood work at all.
Yeah.
Especially the ones that are just like new in the sport. I take somebody who's new and tell them to do blood work, and they just like fight me about it. But I make them do it, but they want to fight about it.
One cool thing is that it's starting to become cheaper and easier to get blood work. I mean, I'm on this Rhythm Health thing that Leo talked about. I do it every month now. It's $97 a month. They mail you the packet. You take the blood work at home, and it's not the most extensive, but it is at least doing something. And then I wanted to touch real quickly because we talked about doing other stuff. We talked about doing a calcium CT. You can just call the radiology place at the hospital, and it's like $150 to do a calcium CT. If you can do a $2,000 cycle and you can't do a $150 test every 5 years to check your heart blockage, and then the other one, the ultrasound, I got a whole everything ultrasound. It was $100. The guy did it. I was in Vegas.
Here's the truth, though. Here's the truth, because I know I deal with, like, I have a gym full of young guys and girls. They won't even spend money for their, liver and kidney supplements. They'll take the steroids, but they won't spend, health supplements, let alone get blood work. Because
hopefully people, the pros and stuff that people look up to, will talk about it, because a lot of people have been talking about it, and hopefully it just becomes more accepted that it's a requirement if you're going to be doing these things, that you have to do it because it's just smart to keep an eye. I mean, honestly, everyone should do blood work, even if you don't.
It goes back to this thing, though. When people are young, they think they're just invincible and they're going to live forever, and they just don't care.
Yeah,
they don't think they need blood work. They're like, I'm fine.
Yeah,
I can tell you, I was like, different because when I was 20 years old, I just competed in the Teen America a few weeks earlier, and then I ended up in the hospital for 6 months with ulcerative colitis and almost died. Yeah. So right from then, I got that health scare, and ever since then, I always did blood work and things like that. But most people, they don't go through something like that, so they're just like, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I will also respond as a European. Now you're talking about, it's super cheap, just go, it's like $100. In Europe, like, I can't speak for all European countries, but in many European countries, we have free healthcare. It's not free, we pay through taxes, of course, but it's still like, I have a lot of European athletes, and their doctors, they just don't want to do blood work because you take steroids. Like some, they're like, they don't even want to tell the doctor because
those are terrible. They're give you like,
well, stuff. They have the attitude like, you did this to yourself. Like, why should the public? Why should the public pay? Why should the public pay for your blood work because you fucked up yourself with steroids? That is honestly, that's not my opinion. That is like the opinion of many doctors there. That
it's the same here in the States.
But I mean, also those doctors should realize that they don't make the laws, and they made the law for universal health care. Like, whether they like it or not, it's kind of like, if someone did this to themselves, whatever. If someone was doing like heroin, then like, technically they did this yourself. But you have, for universal health care, they have universal health care because of the government. Like, the politicians voted on this and chose this system. So that's a terrible doctor if they're turning you away because you have a. Because if I want to keep an eye on my health. That's a terrible doctor.
The message is stop doing steroids. Like, it's really like it's very looked down upon. You're gonna meet this, and you're gonna meet the eye, and they're gonna be like,
Is
the
there
fuck are you doing? Like stop, I'm not going to do your blood work. You're going to stop doing this, like it's
in Europe?
almost better to be a heroin addict than you're taking steroids because you're just like doing this to look good or whatever. It's not respected, or what can you say?
Yeah.
It's not like, it's just like you're doing this to yourself, and it's like, yeah, it's you basically got to go to a private clinic unless you have a really good doctor who's willing to. But this is not like disease, like they over there, they're kind of like, any disease you have or anything, they will help. But with steroids, they're kind of like, bro,
are there much like in the United States, are there private companies where like you could do blood work directly, or is it like only through the healthcare system?
I know in Sweden they have like online. You can do like online. They don't have that in Denmark, and only Swedes can use the Swedish service. It's in Denmark you have to go to a private hospital, and it's very expensive.
Very expensive. Well, I mean, in that case, what I would tell people to do is hop a flight over to Turkey, and they'll do everything for like dirt fucking cheap. Like they'll do MRIs and scans.
Oh yeah,
and they'll do everything for dirt fucking cheap. Like if you want to do it once every other year or something, go spend $1,000 and literally get your entire body scanned, every organ, every single thing. Like I see the people on Instagram all the time talking about like, oh yeah, I flew over because I was just wanting to get like a full checkup, and they do like, MRIs of their heart, ultrasounds on their livers, and blood work, and like everything under the sun, because Turkey's kind of like in that thing right now. So that might be an option for those people.
Yeah, no, Turkey is super cheap, but again, like also like Larry mentioned, if people aren't even willing to buy a Totka or like really go and do $100 blood work, are they willing to do like maybe like a $300-400 flight? Then they got to do a hotel for 1 or 2 nights, and then they got to pay for the testing.
Yeah. And that's why I said what I said earlier. Hopefully we can just change the culture around bodybuilding and say like, yeah, we push, but we're like, we're confirming that we're going to not have an issue by doing these other things. So hopefully just the culture can see that it's like it's a requirement. If you're doing steroids, if you're pushing your weight up, if you're doing this and that, then it's a requirement just to do, these tests to kind of confirm that you're healthy. I mean, for me, I like the confirmation. I feel like, okay, it gives me a little bit of like a sense of like,
and also like you can catch something, you can catch something like, is your HDL really super low? Stop taking like loads of salmon oil. Is your liver like blowing up? Like start upping your Totka. You can start doing something actively, or maybe taking
steroids. You can manage your program because of blood work, just saying like, oh, okay, yeah, my kidneys values are looking terrible. Maybe I need to get on some astragalus. My cholesterols are bad. Maybe I need to increase my fatty acids, and I need to take some citrus bergamot. One other thing that I wanted to kind of touch on is Larry said it with the blood viscosity, with hematocrit and stuff. Things that you can do is nattokinase is it works by lowering the fibrin, which basically fibrin is like the fibers that create a clot, and then the platelets kind of come in and they create like the blood clot that like solidifies. So nattokinase actually lowers the fibrin, and it makes it where your blood doesn't clot and then as readily. And then another one is just taking like a baby aspirin. People have been talking about that for years. So those are just smart things to take if you're taking anabolics, because like Larry said, an effect of anabolics is increased red blood cells, increased hematocrit. So
one thing that just occurred to me, back in the 90s, we had a guy named Andreas Munzer, and I don't know if the new people are even familiar with him, but
he is probably the most ripped athletes I ever seen in my life.
He was like shredded beyond belief. But he was a walking pharmacy. When he died, he had like so much organ failure, like everything failed at one time. And when they did his blood work, he had everything in him, and like high dosage of.
But he also they actually publicized his protocol. I saw it. It was crazy. He also took a cortisol blocker. I forgot what the name of it. It was actually, remember back then, people actually took that cortisol blocker.
It was called
it started with a C, right? Cytodren?
Cytodren. It was Cytodren.
It was super dangerous to take it.
Yeah. I remember John Meadows talking about it. He said he absolutely felt like dog shit when he took it.
I took it a couple different times, and you feel horrible within one day. Your cortisol crashes, and you feel like death. You just feel horrible. But anyways, when this guy came out and when he passed, I remember, like, I think we were all scared to death. We saw that and his cycle, and it was like everybody was just like, damn, this is what happens. And I scared the shit out of myself and probably everybody else, because it was new. We not heard of that. Recently, we've had a few Andreas Munzers. And including, there was just a Japanese guy that just passed like a few weeks ago. Remember that?
Yeah, right after the Japan Pro.
This guy was an Andreas Munzer shredded looking dude. But today, I don't think people think of it. They act like, well, yeah, no, that's kind of normal. You know, it's not normal, but they think of it like that. And I'm not saying you have to get shredded you have to take so many different drugs to get shredded and take so many high dosages, because I don't believe that, because I've gotten shredded to the bone with like not all that stuff. However, it's just become more accepted to take all this stuff. And people are just doing it more. And especially in certain countries like Brazil, Russia, places like this. I'm hearing in Russia, they're taking 100 units of growth hormone a day.
What?
Yes. There's a
How
couple
do they
guys
even
in there.
afford that?
100 units a day. And I mean,
Eric's probably.
One guy he just qualified for the Olympia. The guy weighs 340 pounds and he's lean. He's a big monster. But he did the 100 units a day, and he said it didn't work, so he's only taking 25 units a day. But I mean, other people are talking about doing 100 units a day. I mean, that's just nuts.
The longevity on that, you know, I mean, we don't really know anyone's individuality, but the longevity on pushing that hard is probably short.
I'll also, like, to your question earlier, Luke, with if there are more deaths now contra 80s, 90s, I think it's several factors. What you also said, there are more people training now. It's more popularized. There's all these categories where there was only bodybuilding before, right? But, you know, I see people... like you just talked about, Larry, the stacking of the compounds. You know, back in the day, they didn't have all these compounds. You know, I've heard Arnold, I've heard Mike Mentzer, I've heard several of the golden era guys talk openly about what they took, and it was very limited. They might just have taken, you know, maybe 2 things in a prep, you know, a little Winstrol, a little test. And, you know, now it's like people are on all this list. And that's why, you know, Andreas Munzer had full organ failure. And that's why I think there are more deaths now, because it's like there are so many different components that people take. And it's just one risk factor upon another risk factor. And I think also dosaging is much higher than it used to be.
I think that's probably the biggest factor is dosing is going up, because people start using multiple compounds, and they're using efficacious
total
dose on each compound. So they're getting to 2,000,
the total milligrams.
3,000. Yeah.
Exactly. And honestly, I think also social media plays a big role, because people before, they had off seasons, they had seasons where they didn't do photo shoots, they were not in the public eye. We're talking about, Kevin Lerone said he many times were 6 months off, not training. Ronnie
It's like
Coleman
an arms race
said,
now, because you have sponsors, you always have to be in the public eye.
Exactly. Ronnie Coleman took 3 months off training every year after Olympia. So, we're talking about these athletes, they were recovering. Like they had like a full recovery where they were off gear, they were off training. They were maybe like, giving their digestive system a bit of a rest. So everything got recovered. Now people are forced because of social media, because of posting, because of followers. I mean, nowadays I've had, sponsorships where I wanted to apply. I had to fill out a form, how many followers I have, how many social medias I have, the handles. It's a pressure to perform all the time. Back in the day, I mean, you saw Elite Priest. He was always like fat as fuck in the off season. Now we see, I just checked up on like, we're going to discuss some of the people from the Arnolds, checked up on their social media. I mean, fuck, they have not come off since the Olympia. They look just as shredded like a month ago also. Like, I mean, it's just like the athletes are in much better shape now. They're leaner, they're hotter. They might not come much off drugs anymore. They don't have these breaks. I think all of that, not just drugs, but also all of this recovery, always staying lean, always training, never taking breaks, that also plays a role. Don't you think?
Yeah. Well, you guys got any other topics?
It's a pressure, this social media.
You guys got any other topics on the matter to wrap it up, or do you want to? Are you guys about good on the the health stuff?
I mean, I think we can just put the message out there to try to, get your tests done, take your health supplements.
Yeah.
But some people are going to listen. Some people are not going to listen.
Yeah. And do the hot work, like calcium.
Yeah. I didn't even know what a
ultrasound,
calcium CT score was until like a couple of years ago. People started talking about it. So as soon as they did, I went right away, asked my doctor to get it ordered, and I did it.
I mean, it's not necessary to do it all the time, but do it like maybe once a year, once every other year.
I do it every 5 years where I'm at right now.
Yeah. I mean, if you're a pro,
you're not supposed
I think
to do
you
it
should
too
definitely
often because it's a high radiation load, so you're not supposed to do it too often.
Okay.
But but about every 4 to 5 years, I think, is what they kind of recommend. And it's kind of funny because what we were talking about earlier, originally when I first got my first one, I went to my doctor. I was like 35, and I said, "Hey, I want to get this calcium CT. I'm 260 pounds. I'm a professional bodybuilder and stuff." And he's like, "You're so young." He's like, "You don't need it, this and that." And I was like, "Yeah, but I mean, I've been like pushing pretty hard since I was 24. Been taking stuff, and I just want to take a look. I'd rather know now and adjust now than wait till when you're supposed to get it at like 55 or something like that."
Again, it's just people have to want to take the initiative to do it.
Yeah.
And some will and some won't. Just like some people will go eat a clean diet and some people just won't.
Yeah.
So,
all right. Let's move into the Arnold Classic.
Let's go to the Arnold. So
guys, yeah.
There's been some recent updates from some of the top competitors of the Arnold, and I'm going to try to pull this up on Instagram. Let's see, because there were some pretty impressive things. Let's see. Okay. First one I'm going to pull up is Nick Walker. And he's been posting some updates recently where, you know, he's looking pretty insane right there.
Is he still coaching himself?
Freaky.
As far as I know, yes.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how he peaks. But
now he, you know, that angle, his waist looks super tiny, but you know, it's kind of the angle of the picture as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, his legs look like they're about 3 inches long also in that picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looks pretty freaky. I'm wondering if he's going to continue coaching himself also, like into the...
If he has good luck, I bet he will.
Yeah.
He's worked with a lot of coaches in the industry, so he probably, and he's a smart guy. He has a lot of, you know, a lot of understanding of his body specifically and anabolics and stuff. So,
right. Yeah,
man, he looks
so
good.
I mean, he has as much muscle as anybody and condition as anybody. I think the only thing that holds him back for against, you know, some of these other guys is structure and his waist. That's pretty much it.
I agree.
Yeah,
100%.
His waist, he's actually become kind of like a, you know, pretty mindful about it. And I think that he shows it, he kind of holds it in when he's doing his transitions and stuff, which is exactly what he needs to do in his
more waist control that he had in the past.
Yeah.
But I also agree. I mean, his structure, like just compared to the other contenders.
Yeah, he's got more muscularity, but he does have, you know, less
it's
structure.
Just the aesthetics compared to a Martin or you know, Andrew is just, they're just not there. It's more like freaky muscle.
Yeah, but he's beaten Martin before. He's beaten Martin. I think he's beaten Andrew before too.
Yeah, but
Andrew has improved a lot, and Andrew has had like a conditioning problem as well. So I think now he's really like, I mean, he's the one to look out for, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think he's gonna be Mr. Olympia this year. Bring up Andrew. I saw a check-in with him the other day that was just bonkers.
I saw him train. I was like, his delts looked like they were gonna explode. Like, I don't think I've seen anyone's delts that big.
Yeah, pumpkins on his shoulders.
Yeah, very impressive. Bigger than my head.
So I'm bringing up Andrew right now. And yeah, he had some recent updates that were pretty freaking crazy.
Yeah, that one that's MI40. So he's training with
that's a training video. He's working with Kamal.
Kamal, that's what it is. Yeah,
that's Kamal in that video.
There you go. Oh, it's like
I don't know why I click on that picture and it goes right to the hack squad.
I think it's just a cover photo. Maybe if you scroll down, there will be some like slides or something.
I know he's posted some crazy updates recently. Just like the other day.
Some of that training footage in the beginning there was pretty crazy. I watched that.
Look how damn big he is. Oh, it's going to.
He posts a lot of reels.
Well, he's training with Kamal.
He had something where he was training.
From my understanding,
triceps.
Kamal is
pretty. I've heard Kamal's like pretty hardcore training.
Is he still in Dubai?
Yeah, No, he's in Florida.
Here's a Larry. Go to Bodybuilders Without Borders, and then there's a check-in photo of Andrew on there. It's like you have to scroll down like nine rows down. So that's 2, 3.
Somebody says check beyond the stage in the comments.
Beyond the stage.
Beyond the stage.
Go one lower, Larry. There you go, right there. That one says
this one right here, right?
Yeah.
That was a recent one he just did.
Yeah.
That looks pretty freaking nuts.
Yeah.
When's that?
I mean,
when's
he
that
looks
from?
hard.
It said it was from
This is
4 days
recent.
ago is when it was posted, but I think probably 4 or 5 days ago.
Right. And he
But
looks
yeah,
I mean, he looks hard, thick, dense. I mean, I've never seen him look that dense before.
Yeah, he's definitely
he's always
making
had the crazy
progress.
shape, but he looks. It's a different level of density that I think that's from training with Kamal.
Mm-hmm.
and also just the years, like, I mean, the more years you train, it's just you get that more maturity and density.
If you
Well,
go
there is
back,
that, but he made drastic changes just like in the last year.
if you go
Mhm.
back,
did.
back to the category, all of them, close this one out.
Uh-huh.
And then right above this post is a post of him posing in 2025, right there on the right. And like the difference between that and this one is like he just looks so much freakier right now.
Yeah,
I mean, I know this
the
is
dead
staged
thing.
and shot, but like he looks like he's just so much bigger right now to me.
Mhm. Yeah, he looks crazy. Yeah.
Has Martin posted any?
He had a crazy back
Yes.
photo
I'm gonna-
on his Instagram page. Very thick, dense back.
Martin did?
Mm-hmm.
Let's take a look at Martin. I saw Martin post this the other day.
Was he deadlifting
He was
or
doing
rack pull? Oh, a hamstring.
He was doing this was just a total glute hamstring day by itself.
Mm.
And you can see even on those abductors, he goes heavy.
Yeah.
On those things.
Yeah, he's looking
But
huge. If you scroll over two more
and
slides,
hard.
You scroll over 2 more slides on that one. Oh, you're on the other one. Yeah, he looks bubbly as fuck, man.
Mm-hmm. Look at that back photo. Freaky.
Yeah.
So I think this is more current. I mean, he looks shredded.
He always is.
He's always in good shape.
With Martin, it just, if he nails that peak like he did in Prague, he just looks out of this world when he's like, look at right there.
It could be dangerous.
Wow.
Look how thick he is and with that hardness.
Yeah, and what Martin really has is he's got like a micro waist with all that bubbly. His structure is really appealing.
Yeah, he's got a high level of aesthetics.
You know what I think what people don't realize with Martin is how big he actually is when he stands next to, like when he competed in Prague and he was standing next to Samson, he looked bigger than Samson just because of the conditioning and everything. He actually looked bigger next to him. So he actually does carry a good amount of size with the structure and the conditioning. it's going to be it's really hard to beat that package. And I mean, conditioning wise, I don't think anybody gets better conditioned than what we just saw of him in Prague. I mean, this was pretty wild.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And him and Stefan are figuring out his body more every show. So
yeah, he's nailing it more consistent. But I mean, look at that. His legs are wild. Everything though.
Yeah, crazy detail.
Who else is?
And he's very well balanced.
Who else is in the running? We did. Hadi.
We got Hadi.
Hadi is in it.
If he can make it.
Hadi is gonna bring the freaky conditioning. We already know that.
I'm a little worried that he won't be able to get into the United States because the United States shut down any visas from a lot of like the 70 something countries.
But I think they always exempted athletes.
Okay. Hopefully, I would love to see him come in and best. So hopefully,
I mean, they should exempt athletes. I think only maybe if they have something on their record or something, they'll have a problem getting in. But
I'm gonna fill up my water. I'll be right back.
He looks so freaky.
So
he
I
just
don't know
got
how recent
so
this
much
one is
mass on a short frame.
But I know I think he posts more on Facebook than he does on Instagram for whatever reason.
Okay.
I've seen a lot of training videos recently on Facebook, and he's training, like all out. And he did post on Facebook some recent posing updates.
Mm-hmm. Can you get on there or?
Now, I'm not sure how. That was October 2025. I wonder if I can pull up Facebook because I see him on my Facebook page.
Right.
And he has more recent stuff.
Strange he posts there.
He's old school. He likes doing Facebook.
Yeah. Right.
Let me see.
But he looks freaky. Hadi is going to be hard to beat.
Okay.
At the Arnold.
So let me get off. Let me get off of this one. Let's see. I'm going to try to pull up this here. So for some reason, he posts more on Facebook, and I think this is more current. I know he's been doing a lot of stuff on these machines like this.
Is that a T-bar row?
He's looking big and hard as ever. That was a squat thing with.
It was a squat
T-bar
machine,
row.
right?
Huh. This is kind of old September.
Yeah, I don't know. I've seen recent stuff on his Facebook. But
This looks like it might be a fan page.
This is not it.
Yeah, it might not be that page.
I see.
There are so many fake pages or fan pages or whatever.
Fam photos. Oh,
Let's see.
fan. That's a lot of eyes in his name. I don't think he has that many eyes. Yeah, I think these are just fan photos.
Yeah, this is older
stuff. Yeah, he has his own thing. But I don't think this is it. I see him on my Facebook though.
Well, he's probably gonna bring it at the Arnold. I mean, it's always an upset for a champion not to take the title when he's had it before. So I'm sure he's hungry.
Yeah.
It's like.
What is the comparison with him and Nick?
He's probably the guy to beat by all of them, obviously, because he just was runner-up at the Olympia. So I think him and Andrew are going to be neck and neck for first place.
I say Hadi, Andrew, Fitz, and then Nick.
I would say Andrew, Hadi, Fitz, and then Nick, personally.
Let's see. I'd love to see Andrew take it.
I was kind of wondering. I was kind of wondering how all of this stuff in Iran is affecting his training. But from some of the posts that I've seen, it looks like here.
Is that new?
Yeah. It says today.
Oof, he looks thick.
Yeah, he doesn't look super peeled though.
Yeah,
looks
like he's not missing a piece.
A little soft to me on that. I mean, it's not a great photo, but
I mean, there's still a lot of time.
Yeah. I mean, and that was a video.
I think he's probably just got water on him. He probably never gets very much body fat.
Mm-hmm. Oh. Oh, is he doing the King Kamali? Oh. All right. Well, I wonder why he hasn't been posting on his Instagram
page. I think he's just old school.
No,
and, he's in Iran and
Instagram before.
He posts. I see him on Facebook more. I don't see him on Instagram so much.
Okay.
There's also the communication over there in Iran right now. People can't.
Yeah. Are you sure it's his page
the internet down
posting, or is it a fan page that's just posting content of him?
No, I think it's his.
Okay.
I do think it's his from what I see, because I see updates all the time on Facebook.
Larry, you got a prediction for top 4? Me and Hella put ours. What's your prediction?
If Hadi makes it, and I still think there's a big question mark there.
Yeah.
I still think he's the favorite to win. I would have to say I would have Andrew second, and I would have to put Martin third, Nick fourth. Now that's assuming everybody comes in at their best. Now, obviously, if anybody's off even a little bit, all those things could change. Because those guys could flip. If anybody's off, they can switch places easily.
Yeah, easily. I would say if Andrew really brings it, I'm just I've seen Andrew too soft too many times. He's really he's getting better with more detail, more muscle maturity. But if he can really bring that super shredded look, I think he takes it. But I'm not sure if he's really there yet. It's like often it's like a progression of a bodybuilder getting to that point. And I don't know if, he needs a little bit more time, but, we'll see. If Andrew is a little sharper, Hadi is a little softer, I mean, then.
Now, we also have in the lineup, we have some other really good competitors.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
Are not being talked about.
Brandon Curry, Hakeem Williams, Rafael Brandao, Hassan Mustafa, and Mohammed Foda.
Yeah, I'll put this up here right now.
So who's going to be in that 5th place spot? Who we got? Probably Brandon.
So,
Tony O'Burton.
I would say
Tony O'Burton isn't on the Arnold Classic's website.
No.
Oh wait, no, it's not. He's not.
Yeah,
maybe he dropped out.
Okay. I would say Brandon Curry could even be as high as 3rd or 4th, depending on if anybody's off.
I don't think so.
I mean, I'm saying if everybody else is on, I got him in 5th. But I think if anybody is off, he could jump ahead of somebody.
Right.
Rafael Brando, I think we had some recent things of him. Let me see if I can pull him up on Instagram.
He could push some people if he's really dialed in. Yeah. I like his physique.
Yeah, I do too. I like his structure.
Yeah.
Am I spelling his name wrong? Let me see.
His Instagram is RAFABRANDAOPRO. Rafa Brandao. RAFABRANDAO.
Oh, I found it. Okay.
I don't see any real check-ins.
He's hiding.
Maybe. Here's one from January 20th with his legs looking absolutely freaky. That one on the right with his legs looking full as a...
They're popping.
This one here?
Yeah.
Talking about?
Yes.
Yeah.
They look big.
Yeah.
I don't see very much... But I guess he's super pumped from after a leg workout.
Yeah, they might just be super pumped.
I don't see nobody has
striations
looks like
after
that's
a leg workout.
Right. I don't know what this is.
Yeah, he doesn't really have
any updates in here.
He just has that one video of his legs looking full.
Is that anything new?
When was this from?
Oh, I would say that's last. It says 3 weeks ago, but I think that would be last.
He looks. You think this was? So this is not current.
I don't think so.
Because he looks pretty big and freaking shredded there. So he's the kind of a wild card because you never know where he's going to land.
Sometimes his conditioning is a little off and he slides, but if his conditioning is really on, then he could be. He was as high as I think 3rd or 4th place at the Arnold in 2019. I want to say.
Yeah, he could get up there.
It was like it was Luke Sando, and it was Raleigh Winkler, and him. Can't remember who else, but it was a pretty good lineup that year.
I mean, he could get up there.
Now there's a new guy coming in.
At the Arnold?
Who?
Anthony Williams. Anthony Williams. Let me see if this is it. No, that's not him. There's a guy, Anthony Williams. He's a new guy. I'm trying to see if I can find his Instagram page. He's the guy that won the maybe this is it here. Yeah. Let's share this screen. So this guy right here, I think he won the Arnold amateur last year, but he's looking pretty wild.
Yeah.
I mean, he's big and small waist.
What was his name?
Anthony Williams.
Yeah, he's kind of new as far as like on the pro scene, but this was him last year when he won the Arnold Amateur.
Nice aesthetics.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Aesthetics and good amount of size too.
Yeah.
But
yeah, he looks like a pro level physique in that shot. Turning pro, he looked pro level already.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if he brings the conditioning,
this is 6 days
definitely
ago.
take a good.
He's got great legs, freaking massive.
Yeah. Well, he could get a good placing.
yeah, I think he's a newcomer. He's going to hurt some feelings in there. I can see him.
I'm sure
placing,
he's going for that.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure he is. I
Make
can
a
see him
statement.
placing, as high as 6th, 7th, even.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a lot of size, good structure. I mean, overall, he looks pretty.
And I also feel like,
good.
What do you guys feel like?
So
I feel like they're going a bit more towards aesthetics in open bodybuilding, like rather than just sheer size.
I hope so. I'm never going to be a mass monster, but maybe I can do it aesthetically.
Yeah.
I think they are, only because there are guys that are aesthetic that are also big right now.
Yeah.
I mean, you used to have either it was aesthetic and small or mass.
Well, the
Now
top
you've got-
5 at the Olympia were all pretty aesthetic.
All of them.
They were all aesthetic and they were all big.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
Hadi and Andrew and Martin are carrying almost as much mass as Nick with the aesthetic.
And then you had Samson. I know he was off, but he's enormous right now. We should almost like take a look at his check-in photo. I mean, I know he's not doing it, but just a spotlight, because he looks freaky right now.
Huge. I am sure he's in for a redemption. He looks really, really good.
I saw somewhere it said he was 340.
I'm a big Samson guy, and I think he's got to win the Olympia this year.
I'm calling it that it's going to be Andrew, but I think that if Samson comes in,
I don't think I like Andrew. I'm also an Andrew fan, but I don't think Andrew is ready yet. I think Samson is upping his game. I think he's I think he's mad. I think he's like really. Yeah. I mean,
Coming
the way he's the way he's training right now. I mean, you can tell the guy is mad. Like he's coming for it.
Yeah, we love to see it.
You know, I know he's like 350 pounds supposedly right now.
Yeah,
impressive.
But I just don't know if that's going to translate to when he diets down.
I think it will.
You know, it seems like when he,
I think, you know,
I think when he
well,
diets
you know,
down,
they made some mistakes, and they knew it. They admitted they made some mistakes, and they're not going to make those mistakes again. You know, like sometimes you just end up pushing too hard. You know, like we spoke a little bit about it in another podcast. Like I know it from myself. You know, like I won before. You know, I didn't win the Olympia, but I won the Rising Phoenix when there was no Olympia. That was the Olympia of the time, and I won it and I lost it. And I remember after I lost it, I met Flex Lewis, and I was like really like devastated. And he said some wise word to me. He looked me in the eye and he said, you know, but think about it like this. You know who's going to be the most dangerous person at the next Olympia or Rising Phoenix? And I was kind of like, no, the one that just won. And he was like, no, it's going to be you, you know, because, you know, it's like you just win. You win the most precious, and it was like my dream since I was 17 years old. You win it, you ride the wave, and then next year you just crash and burn because you push too hard. You know, you over diet. You want to be better. You want to even bring more, and sometimes that just ends up biting your ass. And it did for me, and also did for Samson. He was just over dieted. You know, like. Sometimes it's like you can't come back from that. If you diet too hard, you cannot fill out. It's just, that's just how it is. So I think he's the most dangerous person right now because he's mad, he's hurt, he wants that title back.
Yeah. So. Let's shift into the questions in the chat and then wrap this up. We're coming up on past hour and a half. So,
let's do it.
Someone asked about a bodybuilding Hall of Fame. There is a bodybuilding Hall of Fame, and they usually give out the award at the Olympia every year. So, yes, we have that. Someone says it's almost always orals that cause digestive issues in pro bodybuilders like Brando and Brett Wilkin, to name a few. I know a lot of people have problems with orals. I don't know if it's like all of it.
I would say not necessarily. It depends. Like if you get liver inflammation, which you can get from orals, but you can also get it from like too much stacking, just too high dosages. If your liver gets like really taxed, you lose the appetite and you get bloated and you cannot eat.
Yeah. Take your Tudka.
Yeah. Definitely.
Okay. What heart tests can you get that are affordable? Pay out of pocket. I mean,
I would say the calcium CT. I think it's under $200, and then the ultrasound. If you can find someone that does like an ultrasound, I only paid $100. They had like an option. It was $100, and then it was $250 for like a full body. The guy gave me the full body, but if you're in Vegas, reach out to me. He's awesome. He come to you. He's like mobile, and
I did that guy in Vegas when I was at
what?
The guy in Vegas. I think when I was at
his name's Steve.
Yeah, Steve he did the ultrasound in my room.
Yeah,
He charged me. It was like $200.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
Yeah, he did the whole thing.
You can look at your size of your. Look at the size of your kidneys, the size of your heart, the size of, like if you have blockages in your carotid, your thyroid, your your joints, if you have meniscus tears, or I tore my calf and I had him take a look at it and he said, "Oh yeah, you tore it. It's a grade 1 tear." So, and then he checked the rest of my body at the same time. So I would highly recommend getting that because it's really low invasive. There's no radiation on it. And then it can tell you quite a bit. If you're just trying to do the bare minimums. I don't know how much an echocardio is. I'm going to look into that, but I'm curious how my echo would be looking.
Was Jason getting ready for a competition? I don't know about that.
Jason just started working with Chris Tuttle about a week before he passed. Supposedly he was just doing like off season, not pushing his drugs very hard is what I heard. And he just had he was a pretty healthy guy. I mean, I think, besides the heart, I mean, he was trained constantly. He posted every single day, his workouts, extremely strong. And they said heart attack. So I'm not sure exactly what specifically that means, failed on the heart, but no, he was going to start prepping with Chris Tuttle, but they hadn't done anything yet.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm looking back at the comments.
Yeah. What happened to the beard? I just got sick of it. You guys remember I got the hair transplant, so it's starting to come in. Then I wanted to get my little mullet back. So it's coming in. I just time to change it up. I was kind of sick of the beard.
Someone asked about health insurance. I have full health insurance, but I got to be honest with you. Lately, I've been getting my own blood work done because my doctors have been giving me crap about ordering blood work. I got a new endocrinologist, and he's just giving me a hard time in general. And I've never met him in person. He just got assigned to me.
Oh, it's all telehealth?
So far, yeah. And
what a pain in the ass.
And right away, he's like, you're a bodybuilder. I never even talked to him about bodybuilding or anything. I've only met him on telehealth. And he wrote in a report all this crap about me being a bodybuilder.
See, that was what I was talking about earlier.
And I've not even met him in person.
Pain in the ass.
Mm-hmm.
Bad doctor.
It's like, and you're even paying for it, Europe, we're also paying for it just through taxes, but it's like, I just think it's insane. Like, really, you are there to help us with our health. I know we've chosen to take steroids, but there's also people who have chosen to smoke cigarettes or eat very bad food and get fat and obese and everything. That was also a choice,
True. Getting diabetes is, in a sense, for a lot of people, it's a choice. Type 1, it's not, but type 2, it pretty much comes from eating too much.
It is a choice. It's just like you basically you eat the cake, you eat the shit, you eat the junk food, you hope nothing happens. We also we take the steroids and we hope nothing happens. Of course we try and take our precautions and everything, like the Todca, the Astragalus and all these things. Yeah. But still, none of us hope that something happens, but then we're trying to prevent it and take our blood work and shit. So please, doctors, get a grip.
All right, looks like I got a question targeted at me. It says, I'm not trying to be an asshole, but is Luke's throat issue clearing the throat trend related? If you have to ask that question, you don't understand what trend cough is. Trend cough lasts about 15 minutes, and then you don't cough anymore at all. It's when you nick a vein and you get some trenbolone, your body's trying to expel it, and it can happen with anything. I've had it happen with equipoise, with Primo. I would highly doubt it's trend related because I haven't taken trends since early 2023. I just have in the wintertime, it gets dry here and I mouth breathe half the night. My throat gets really dry and I get thick phlegm on the back of my throat. And I have a hard time breaking it loose. And then sometimes when I eat certain things, it just has I just can't break it loose for some reason. So it doesn't really happen in the summer. Happens in the winter when the air gets kind of cold and dry. So,
are you using a CPAP?
I have it, but I don't use it.
Why?
It's uncomfortable. My sleep is worse on it. I just haven't gotten used to using it.
I use it religiously.
I know I need to start because I just started my cycle again. I started about, I think we talked about it maybe mid-December. I got back on, and my weight was pretty low. It was like 235. So when my weight's that low, my sleep apnea goes away. But as I creep up past 250, it starts to come back. So I need to really buckle down and start using it. So I will. I'll do it. I'll try to do it tonight for the first night.
I actually got on it years ago because I knew I needed it, and I just put it on and I get the best sleep. I just will not. I
think mine might not be set right specifically because like I have a hard time breathing out against the air coming in. Like I think it might not be set right.
You shouldn't even feel the air.
Yeah, I have a hard time breathing out.
Well, then you need to get it adjusted. It's not adjusted right. If it's blowing too hard, that you're having that. Like I put it on, but I can't. Once it's on, I just go to sleep. I don't even notice it. And I'll even get up in the night to use the restroom, and when I lay back down, I put it right back on and just crash out. But it's definitely a game changer. I know I got Charlie to use it, and
he's doing good.
He's doing really good with it.
And, yeah, I actually bought one because I had one through my insurance, and then I didn't use it frequent enough, and then they wanted it back, and I was like, well, I'm trying to get up to using it. They're like, oh, you got to use it for like X amount of time and X amount of days. And I was doing pretty good, but I was out of town a bunch and I didn't want to take it with me to travel.
Why?
So they wanted it back. So I just jumped on Facebook Market and I found literally the exact same unit. And then I have it now. So I got set up on that app. What's the app called? My Air or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's supposed to be set right, but I don't think it is set right for me.
I would just get it through the doctor and just use it. I'd take it with me. It's in the small case. It's easy to travel with.
Yeah, no, I have the same one that they gave me, but they wanted me to pay $900 for it, and I found the same one on Facebook for $100. So,
oh, your insurance won't cover it?
They wanted it. They covered it for a while, but it was like a lease. And then if I didn't use it frequently enough, I had to use it like 4 hours a day for at least 21 days out of 30. And I didn't use it like enough days, and they took it back.
Well, that's why. But I would ask for it again because Charlie had the same thing. He stopped using it. They took it back and he got it back.
Yeah.
And now he's using
it. No, I own it now. Like I own the same unit, and they literally have it. Because my friend is a nurse that does it, and she set it up with the exact same thing that they had it set on before. But the reason I had a hard time using it before was because it was too strong. I think the original doctor just said it wrong, or the original nurse.
Yeah, you just need to get it calibrated to you, and then you should be fine with it.
Yeah. I think I need to.
Do you know someone who can help you adjust it?
Yeah, my friend, she's a nurse, so she does like sleep stuff. She got me set up on the app. I just have to go through the things and set it. I think.
Yeah, I'll just have her to help so it really fits you 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I saw another question that was for me. Somebody says, I have a girlfriend who wants to hop on, but she's afraid to get a big clitoris. How is her clitoris after taking steroids? Please answer, no disrespect. I'm actually happy to have this question because I've seen a lot on Instagram lately about the topic, and I saw even like a page where they were discussing that now a lot of women they go have basically some of the clitoris cut off to kind of make it smaller. I'm like, I would not recommend doing that, and I don't even know why. So most of my girlfriends, they're actually female bodybuilders. I think it's normal when you're in the industry and you train together and you have sort of a similar, what can you say? There's things you can talk about to your female bodybuilders that you can't with other girls.
Yeah.
And this is one of the things, I don't know any one of my friends that doesn't say it's not better sex having a big clitoris. It's just the guys can find it. It's more sensitive, and it doesn't get that big. I mean, yeah, of course, there's like, it's a side effect, you know. So you can say the same as everything else. Like if you use, everything is dose related and related to the length of time you take the product. But there's like with this side effect, it's not like it keeps growing. Like you're not going to get a dick. Like I've never seen anyone, you know, it exactly, it grows to a certain size and that's it. And of course that can be a little individual from person to person. And also how much are you taking and duration of time you're taking it. So of course, the less you take, like if she never took anything, I would just recommend like start with maybe 5 milligrams of Anavar. You can up the dose to 10 if she's, you know, responding well to it and it's like not getting too much side effects.
I think if you're trying to keep the enlargement down, I would stay probably in the sub 10 milligrams of just androgens per day. You know, if you're doing like a injectable, like maybe Primo, maybe like 20 milligrams per week. I know that's like on the lower side for what you're talking, but like if you're just absolutely looking for no side effects, like no changes in your, in, you know, and I mean, that's not for sure. I mean, everyone's going to be different. Some people may get it from literally just genetics. You might get a enlarged clit because you have high testosterone. So, and I think most of the time I've been with like a lot of bodybuilder girls and they've had, you know, enlarged clits, and I'm just happy to be there. I'm not like judging whatever their body looks like, you know? So, and I'm sure Larry has the same experience.
I honestly, I've probably most of the girls I've dated in the last 20 years were on something at some point and have a large clitoris.
Yeah.
And personally, I think it's better.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're more sensitive. They get off easier. They're more sexual.
You can play with it more.
Yeah, I mean,
I have a similar same experience, you know. So I think that it kind of goes hand in hand. If you're trying to be a professional IFBB pro, then you're going to have some side effects, and if you're a woman, that's probably the most rapid side effect is that enlargement, and then probably voice, and then probably hair growth. Those are probably like the main ones that you'll notice.
I would say
then it's like we have
out of all the side effects, that would be the least one that I would not think of it as almost a negative.
Yeah, I agree. You know? Like I said, for me, myself, and all the friends that I'm talking to who are bodybuilders or even like just taking hormones for longevity or retired or whoever they are. I mean, none of them have talked any negative about it. And I hear it from a guy's perspective because I feel like some women are worried that, you know, if they're going to be with a guy, like what he's going to say, you know, because it is substantially bigger than a normal clit. I mean, it's also women, like some women have that you can almost not see, and others are a little bit on the bigger side. So, I mean, it varies in sizes, but I feel like women shouldn't be embarrassed if it grows a bit. I don't think the guys mind. I've never been with a guy who said, wow, I really don't like that. You know, like, on the contrary, I've always had like the guys really like it because, you know, you can find it and it's just, you're easier to please.
One thing is kind of related, but not specifically. When I comment on stuff, maybe online, people immediately like try to make fun of me for taking steroids. And I'm like, you think I don't know that I take them? Like they're trying to like somehow make fun of it. So like, you know, if someone's making fun of you for like something like that, I feel like it's a them problem about their own insecurities about looking at you because you have a better physique than them, not about I mean, like, I take steroids because I like to do it. I like to live this lifestyle and do these things. Like, if you're somehow making fun of me for it, I'm like, yeah, I'm stronger than you. I'm faster than you. I heal better than you. Like,
right.
you know, like, so
yeah.
You know, if someone like, basically what I'm saying is just like, other people's opinion of you really doesn't matter. They shouldn't matter. So
yeah, true. Yeah, I hope that some women are seeing this, or there are some guys on here that have their girlfriend, and I'm like, it's a side effect, yeah, and if it bothers you, keep the anabolics low. Or you can always stop. I will say, if
you see it start coming up, then just stop where you're
at. And also, you also got to think about another thing. When you take steroids, you have a bigger blood volume. And actually, my clit is bigger on steroids than it is when I'm off. Like, when I'm off, it's like kind of sorry. When I'm on, it's like, nice and full.
Blood flow.
Exactly. So, I mean, it's things always go back to normal. Everything. It's if you get a bit of hair growth, that comes back when you stop.
Yeah.
If you get like elevated liver enzymes, they will come back.
You know what's kind of interesting that I've noticed with some girls that I follow on social media that had some voice change from taking gear, when they stopped using it for like extended amount of time, like 1 to 2 years, their voices actually, like, they maybe not got back to the original, but they got like higher pitched than what they were at their like heaviest. So
yeah, no, it gets better. Like, everything, I would say one of the irreversible things that is the voice. Also,
I think it's like irreversible completely, but I think that it does soften up some when you do.
It does. Yeah, it does. Definitely. I mean,
so not saying not to, be careful of it if it's something you're worried about.
Yeah, definitely. Sure. But just you can always stop the cycle. Like, anything you don't like happening, stop the cycle. It's not that bad. Nothing lasts forever. Like, okay, the voice and the clit, like you said, it won't come back to the original, but it will come down.
Mm-hmm. So, all right, let's wrap it up on that note. We all got things to get going on today. I'm sure Hella's got to get to bed.
Yeah, I just want to say, I acquired a Icarian squat machine, and it was one of 5 ever made.
Wow.
And I'm going to do a full video on it sometime this week when I get a chance. But it's badass.
Are you gonna put it online? Can we see it?
I'm going to do a whole YouTube video on it. But it's one of 5 ever made. And I want to do a video on it because there's a whole history on it. So stay tuned for that one, because I think Luke and I will do some squatting on it and film it, because it's really something unique. And the history behind it is pretty wild. So I think people will like it. So that'll be coming out. I'm excited to come in for sure. Sometime by the end of this week, as soon as I get a chance to do it. All right.
Nice.
All right. If anybody have any questions for next week's podcast, send it to our Instagram or email or whatever. Our links are in the bio here. And also, don't forget, like and subscribe so we continue to do this thing. And I think that's it. That's a wrap.
Cool.
That's a wrap.
Thanks, guys.
Cool. Thanks, guys, for joining. See ya.
I believe